What's up, everyone? Thralls of Metal back again. I'm Shredlord.
Necrotic Nick.
And we are excited to bring you yet another great album review. This time we are bringing you stoner doom metal band Conan's 6th release, Violence Dimension.
Sounds like a fun place.
I want to go.
Yeah.
Where do I get tickets?
You have to survive the album and all the fucking riffs.
Well, we did. We're here.
Yeah, no, we should be ready. Anyway, this also comes out on the 25th of April on Heavy Psych Sounds Records. This band formed in 2006 in the UK. Again, this is their 6th album. I have been a fan since their debut album, Monos. And we actually went over their last one, Evidence of Immortality, which was a fucking fantastic release. The one before that, Existential Void Guardian, I also thought was a banger too. And yeah, we put this up as a poll, and you know, there were 3 other bands that were competing, and man, by a landslide, Conan won. So you guys clearly wanted some lumbering, stoner, doom, sludge, just kind of just dripping with riffy grossness. And you 100% got it. This band also features current and former members of bands like Dread Sovereign, Altar of Plagues, and a recent addition, the former bassist of Fudge Tunnel, Dave Riley, steps in.
I wonder what that's about.
Well, also RIFFS, but I don't know. That name does allude to something.
Anus. It definitely alludes to anus.
Spot on, Shred.
I notice these things. A lot of people, they don't realize that about me. I'm a noticer.
Their longtime bassist Chris Fielding left after their last one, but he actually mixed and produced this album, so it seems like he's on good terms with the rest of the band, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, I kind of knew exactly what this album was going to be about because, I mean, this band's modus operandi has not changed one bit since their inception. But I was kind of wondering what he would think, because this is his first experience with this band.
Yeah, I've never heard of Conan. I immediately love the name, obviously. Who doesn't love the good Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan movie? And what an appropriate name.
What is best in life, Shred?
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and the lamentation of the metals.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I was paying it. Once again, I'm a noticer. I pay attention. This was actually pretty solid, man. I don't listen to a lot of droning stoner doom metal, but this was actually a much easier listen than I anticipated, especially for an album that, with the bonus track, ended up being about an hour long.
Yeah. Now, I only knew about the regular version. He actually told me, like, oh, hey, we got an extra 12 minutes of music to go. And we'll get into that towards the end. But, I mean, all right, if you already know what this band's about, then you kind of know what this is going to sound like. This is lumbering, slow, just tone-chasing stoner doom. And, you know, stoner doom, and I would say stoner metal, and to a degree doom metal, I've always considered tone-chasing genres. Like, this is where you have to have a particular tone to really do the sound right. And this guitar tone on here is just immense. It's thick, it's fuzzy, but it also crackles and sizzles, and it's backed by a stupid huge bass that is warm and fuzzy, and surprisingly, very crisp drums.
Yeah, the instrumentation on here is great, and honestly, the sound is huge. Talking with Nick about this band, I guess they only have 3 members, so, you know, mad respect to 3 guys that can make such a wall of sound the way they do, man. It sounds a lot more massive than just 3 guys.
Yeah, I mean, right from the rip with Foeman's Flesh, you are just introduced to, again, this tone that just kind of walks over you, lumbers over you. It's not moving fast. Rarely does this band move fast, but it does occasionally. But right from the rip, you get into a slow groove, these monotonous droning riffs, and there's like an elegance to their simplicity. Like, they're just lethal, hefty drones, a lot of sustain. Like, they just kind of hit the chord and then wait a few seconds and like, all right, next chord. Or just like individual notes. Fuck it. This is very minimalist, but it's very powerful.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of great atmosphere along the way as well. One of the tricks, I wouldn't say tricks, but one of the things that they do in here to create some of these songs is take a really strong riff and continuously repeat it, but it doesn't get boring in the way that they bring other elements into it, or they'll change it up quickly and then bring it back. Once again, when you have a band or a genre that really relies heavy on, you know, slower, doomier stuff, I feel like the riffs have to be good, right?
Yes.
Because they're going to be repeated a lot. And I thought this band, while they kept it stupid simple, did a really great job of keeping ideas from getting boring. The track Total Bicep, which we could not figure out the lyrics yet, because we were just wondering if this was basically just a workout song.
Slow curling.
Yeah, just slow curls, man. Really get the pump in, you know. Arnold says the pump is like coming. Think about it. That's why if you ever watch Pumping Iron, he said he was the happiest man in the world. I'm coming at home. I'm coming in the gym. I'm coming all the time.
It was like Stallone probably. And he'd make totally different noises.
I'm coming, huh?
Well, he did porn.
Yeah, he did. He did. Or Ferrigno would just have a boner yelling, Arnold, Arnold, Arnold. But I digress. Total Bicep is a great example of what I was just speaking about. They have a really great riff to come in, and it's so good that I don't care how much it's repeated. But this song kind of incorporates a little bit more into the mix. It's not just 2 or 3 riffs, and the end is actually pretty fucking awesome. The climax of this song definitely has this big, beautiful funeral death kind of march riff that almost, you know, Sabbath in nature. It would make Black Sabbath very proud, man. But throughout that whole song, it just kind of starts with that opening riff, builds up the intensity, and then finally crescendos into that end. And I thought that song was fabulously done.
Oh, yeah. The dense production, too. Like, I mean, that's like kind of a big part of this. You know, you have to feel like this is like an all-encompassing sound. Like, this just kind of just lays on you. And this song in particular, I like the fact that, again, like there's some different dynamics on this one. The opening groove is a little bit off time, and, you know, everyone kind of, you know, makes fun of like doom metal drummers, like, oh, you know, they're just doing slow stuff, and they have time to figure out whatever they're doing in between the beats. You like answer texts on their phone or like wave at people in the crowd. But I like the fact that there's some like fun little off-time grooves, some really solid cymbal work, and it breaks into a D beat. It kind of gets down to like this crusty, kind of like high on fire-ish sort of pace. And there's a lot of like, you know, big comparisons in here I could make to bands like Monolord, Electric Wizard, even Sleep, of course, because you have to reference a Matt Pike band.
But one thing I do know is that whenever Matt Pike is making his recommendation or his criticism, he will be shirtless.
Yes, but that whole ending part, and that's kind of like a microcosm of this band in general. When they find a riff they love, they fucking hug it. And they hold on to it, and they do build on it, like a little bit of atmosphere of the guitars, maybe some like looping effects where you get some like wah, or just like some scathing, scratching noises in terms of like, you know, a really sizzly lead tone or something like that. And, you know, like holding on to like big riffs is an important thing in Stoner Doom. You know, the drone is a big aspect, but these guys in particular, I feel like they hold on to the right riffs. There's a lot of sections on here where, honestly, it kind of stays in one riff, like the title track. The title track might be one of the moodiest jams on this entire thing.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the highlights. It's taking that riff, they create a really good riff. You think it's maybe going to be a little overplayed at first, but then they change it up. And the constant ends up being that riff all throughout, coming back to it, but they intertwine so many different other parts. It's really cool to hear.
I like the fact that it is kind of a slow burn, and it starts off a little bit quieter than, well, like every track on here. You get a cleaner tone, an isolated guitar, and it's essentially playing like 4 notes. But it's this, you know, kind of like cascading effect. It's ominous.
The reverb and the atmosphere.
Yeah. It's dark sounding, and then it slowly builds. Like, you know, I feel like the band is all just kind of waking up. Like the guitarist woke up first, like, all right, time to get down to the melody. The drummer wakes up next, like, hey, what you doing?
I'll come in.
You know, in between there, probably spark a bowl or two, and then kind of settle in this groove, and then it gets down to the big riff section. And just when you think it's going to build into like the next big riff, it shrinks back down into the darkness again and kind of builds back up. It kind of just sticks with this melody for like most of the song. Like, I don't think there's a riff change in terms of like a key change or just like a chord change until like the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, about 2/3 in, we finally start to get some changes. Get a little, I wouldn't call it a bass solo, but it's like a bass spotlight per se, where the bass comes in and kind of starts to build it back up again towards the end. There's a lot of good dynamics in this song.
Yeah, and I like the fact that when they isolate stuff down, like you get a little bit of like atmosphere to soak in. Foeman's Flesh, there was like a little bit of like a little spacey interlude on there, but the title track makes good use of that open space, kind of yobbish in a way, which, I mean, that band is excellent at atmosphere and bone-crunching riffs. Towards the end of the song, it kind of gets a little bit more aggressive, and then out of nowhere, the vocals show up, which I thought it was going to be an entirely instrumental jam, and it pretty much is like, I think it's like the 7-minute mark where all of a sudden like, hey, why are we even singing now or growling? Like, you know, not that the vocals are bad. I like the vocals on here. They're just sort of this harrowing kind of bellow and scream, like a good combination. But this song was an all instrumental jam. And I don't know, like there's a vibe with that with stoner doom for me. Like it's heavy but chill. Like I get that in just regular stoner metal too. Like it's got the riffs, but somehow you can just kind of sit back and kind of just groove to it. But I thought that was kind of interesting there.
Another element that I kind of liked was I would almost hear at times certain harks back to like very early Mastodon, where it's just super heavy and groovy, like Frozen Edges of the Wound kind of gives me that vibe. And then also the second track, Desolation Hex.
Yeah.
It kind of has some of these early Mastodon just kind of vibes and grooves, and I thought that was a nice element. Also, the second to last track, or the last track depending on what version you have, Ocean of Boiling Skin.
Sounds fun.
That is an image that I'll never get out of my head. But this is yet another example of how they can keep this riff very interesting, but tie in all this other shit at the same time and not have to have a million different things going on to keep it interesting.
Yeah, like, I mean, none of these songs I would say are like busy with anything other than like just supplying you with a giant size riff and a lumbering groove and maybe some atmosphere. The simplicity of this and just what they can get out of it is something I absolutely love about this band and this style. And I like that there's sort of an ebb and flow in here. Like you get more trippy, long drawn out tracks. And then you can have some more aggressive tracks like Desolation Hex or Frozen Edges of the Wound, where it's a little bit more biting, a little bit more snarly. Like honestly, those songs kind of feel a little bit more akin to like sludge metal as a whole. Like bands like Buzz Oven and I Hate God. It's got a little bit of that kind of extra grit and sizzle to it. And again, the riffs are a little bit less about being atmospheric and more about being just flat out aggressive.
And while there was a lot of good on this album, there were a couple small things that didn't make much sense to me. First and foremost being the track Warp Sword.
Very small thing.
Yeah, it's basically like 50 seconds to a minute of just this like very compressed, very condensed, shortened song. Almost like, why is it there?
Stoner grind? Like, this band has written faster songs. In fact, like, you know, Frozen Edges of the Wound actually has like kind of a thrashy gallop towards the end. And it works because the riff they're playing on that is like more of like this kind of down-picked, kind of like punky, crusty riff. That works for faster material with this style because, again, like the less intricate and the less like heavy, like tremolo picking you get with this tone, the more distinct it sounds. This one kind of goes like a faster picking sound. It just turns into this like wall of static with like a 3-note accent at the end of it, which was cool. You know, it was kind of fun hearing him do like a faster, like short song like this because that's like the antithesis of this style. But it kind of felt like a little bit extra and was like, you know, like this is kind of like a leave it behind track. Like, yeah, it was kind of a fun experiment, but it didn't grab me. Luckily, Ocean of Boiling Skin was just an absolutely fantastic jam, though.
And the only other thing that didn't quite make sense to me would be the bonus track or the extra track, Vortexian. It is 12 minutes and like 4 seconds. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have another, you know, just like a drawn out kind of banger stoner doom thing. It's like 12 minutes of just basic feedback and noise.
Yeah, I had to do like some searching because this almost felt like a Sun O cover. Like, you know, Sun O, I know this band has their fans. I'm just not one of them. Like, you know, the droning ambience and all that. Like, yeah, that's cool. These guys like to show up the fact that their guitar tone is heavier and swampier than everyone else's and dress up like druids and have a smoke machine that probably smells like weed anyway. I know, that already sounds like a good time. I've seen Sun O tribute bands before, and man, is it a test of my patience. But this song I thought was like a, you know, Sun O cover, and turns out it's one of their own tracks, and it's 12 minutes of just kind of the same riff droned with like a little bit of like atmosphere behind it. Like at one point we heard like, I don't know, something like seagull chatter or something like that. I don't know, but it was too much. Like this is the kind of like self-indulgence in this style that I don't like when they just kind of isolate it down to one instrument because it's just the guitarist. And it just hangs out way too long. I almost felt like the rest of the band fell asleep and he was still like just tweaking with it. It's like, you gotta get this tone right. We gotta make these amps sweat. And he just kept fucking with it. It was like, you know what? Did I leave the recording on? Yeah. we're just gonna throw that on there. And yeah, like a bonus track, like, you know, I look forward to those. Like, you know, special editions, generally I'll go for that. But this isn't something I would pursue after hearing it, because again, it just takes up 12 minutes of space, 12 minutes of like just atmosphere. And for me, I need more than just atmosphere and a cool tone. I need an actual song. I was looking forward to another stony jam like, you know, Ocean of Boiling Skin, or like any of the longer tracks here, because the longer tracks in here are my favorites. Like, draw it out, give me riffs for fucking days, or 9.5 minutes. I'm going to be happy as shit.
So overall, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I've never listened to this band before. I'm not the most well-versed when it comes to stoner doom metal. I do love Black Sabbath. I do love Marijuana, so those two things can combine. And I thought this was a solid offering from these guys. There was a couple tracks that didn't really make sense to me, but overall, I felt they did a great job building songs with a minimalist palette and really delivering some good vibes and some good songs.
I am going to go with a 4, honestly. Like, I still really dig this. I just won't be getting the special edition of it just because, no. The only track in terms of the regular version that I just wasn't into was Warp Sword, and it's only like 45 seconds. The rest of this is monolithically heavy, droney, slow. Like, this moves at the pace of a glacier. And I love it because everything feels so damn saturated in just this absolutely disgustingly dense guitar tone and bass, and it's just this wall of sound, and it goes beyond that. This thing's got monolithically heavy riffs. The breakdowns on here will make your lip curl and feel like it could fold space and time. I love that vibe, and again, it's like that weird sort of heavy where I can just kind of chill out to it. I've always loved that about this band, and I think they're doing it really well once again. Again, if you're a big fan of like Monolord, Yob, Sleep, Electric Wizard, stuff like that, if you want it slow and punishing, this right here, go get it. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They are only 99 cents, and our lone perk is doing a members-only stream, which we'll probably do one after we get back from MDF, because we'll probably have stories to tell.
And we just did one recently, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
But memberships are the main way to support the channel now. We also still have our store, thrallsmetal.com, with our t-shirts and hats. That is linked down below. And there's also a join button down there. If you would like to just hit that button, and we could talk about our favorite stoner doom riffs that we're probably still listening to because the song's 3 weeks long, let's do it.
And most importantly, thank each and every one of you. We appreciate you guys so much taking the time out of your day to watch our videos and spend time with us and give your guys' feedback. Without you guys, none of this is possible. And from the bottom of our frozen hearts, we greatly appreciate you. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. Tons of content coming your way. We got a new one that we're probably going to be working on here really soon. And yeah, we got a new segment that just came up this guy brought. I think we might be seeing a sequel to that at some point. But yeah, tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you, because you guys are awesome, and we will catch you later.